Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Sarah Whitman. I am with Avery Dennison, and we are excited to welcome you to the Transforming Healthcare with Dual Frequency RFID Innovations webinar, hosted by Avery Dennison and EM Microelectronic. If at any point today you have a question for the panelists, please enter it in the chat. You can find that option at the bottom of your screen for most of you, or in the Q&A. So again, welcome. I'm going to turn it over to Jenny Crone with Avery Dennison, who will tell us more about what we'll be learning today. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Welcome, everyone. We have 4 knowledgeable speakers today, myself, Jenny Crone, and my colleague, Peter Block from Avery Dennison, and Maria Mishunishiva and Tom Reset from EM. Today, we will be covering a little bit about our companies. Then we will discuss the key trends and dynamics in healthcare and talk about the healthcare product lifecycle. Then we will take a look at RFID technologies in healthcare and dive deeper into dual frequency RFID technology and its main use cases. And as Sarah mentioned, at the end, we will have time for a Q&A. So let's get started. Avery Dennison is a global material science and digital identification solutions company. It has a revenue of about $9 billion and it operates in over 50 different countries. Avery Dennison Smart Track specializes in large-scale, high-volume RFID inlay manufacturing, producing tens of billions of RFID inlays a year in 8 manufacturing sites around the world. Our vision is that every physical item will have a unique digital identity and a digital life, and we are committed to helping create that bridge between the digital and the physical. We offer solutions from optical carriers to UHF RFID and NFC. We also invest in new technologies such as printed electronics, passive Bluetooth, and sensors. AppMyo is our connected product cloud, our platform that unlocks the power of connected products by assigning unique digital IDs to everyday items and providing end-to-end transparency from source to consumer. And now Tom will introduce you to EM.
Thanks, Jenny. Hi, everyone. EM Microelectronics is a global semiconductor company. Our headquarters and production facilities are located in Meyrin, Switzerland. A lot of folks don't realize this, but we are a part of Swatch Group, Swatch Watches. We've been part of Swatch Group's electronic systems division for more than 45 years, and we specialize in low power consumption, miniaturization, and Swiss quality. We also serve the whole frequency spectrum of LF, HF, UHF, as well as multi-frequency and multi-protocol applications, and we do this in both standard and custom versions. So that's a little bit about EM. So with that said, I will turn it over to Peter, and he is going to talk about some of the key trends and dynamics in healthcare that we're seeing today.
Great, thanks, Tom. Hi, everyone. Peter Block. I'm taking care of our market development business in the US. And as Tom said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the trends. They're not surprising trends to everyone, but when you look at them and imagine the value that RFID technologies can add to these trends, you start to have an aha moment on how much we can improve in the healthcare space by using the technology. So the first one really is about, rising healthcare costs, not a surprise to everyone. But through RFID technologies, we can really decrease inefficiencies in the supply chain. We can waste a lot less. We can offer more, and we can do it in less time with the technology because it's automated and it's very accurate. The second one really is about workforce and supply shortages. Again, not a surprise to everyone. There's less nurses and doctors and healthcare providers today than there ever have been in the past, with at least since the pandemic, and they're under pressure. And this technology can take a lot of that pressure away. It can decrease their hours of activity of doing inventories, allow them to give more nursing and humane care, and take away the fear of them possibly making an error under pressure in that healthcare environment. In the middle of the page really talks about increasing patient demands. And this is about everyone having a cell phone today and the mentality that you should be able to receive and gather information wherever you are at the tip of your fingers. And that includes sharing that information. And it's oftentimes healthcare information that's very secure and regulated. So you want to make sure that you have the right information, the right encryption, the right privacy, but yet the ease of accessing all of that information when you as a patient want to have it. The next step over is really a change in care models. All of us have experienced now, I think, maybe some sort of telehealth, whether it's from your mom on the phone or a nurse at the hospital telling you how to get better. And when you're doing that kind of remote care, the ability to interact with RF technology so that you can authenticate the drugs that you're getting or get more information about how to take those drugs and when to take those drugs, or get a question answered is key to making those models more and more successful. And last is really about digital transformation and interoperability. So how do we get all that information flowing between the people that need to see it and want to have it and in through the supply chain so that we maximize all of these efficiencies? And on the bottom of this one, there's an example about e-leaflets. And I think Tom and I were talking before, and he had a couple comments about e-leaflets and how they play too.
Sure. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, a couple of months ago, Axia Institute, and for those of you who don't know who the Axia Institute is, they are an industry trade association focused on the healthcare space. They're also working in collaboration with Michigan State University, which is MSU. They had a meeting 1 or 2 months ago where they're spearheading a campaign to introduce technology to all the leaflets that have to accompany a drug or a prescription. So case in point, do a visual. I picked up a prescription just last week from CVS, and attached to it is all of this leaflet information. So they're looking at ways to digitize this with technology for the benefit of everyone. And they had a meeting, like I said, down in Washington, D.C. a couple of months ago, where they're going to spearhead a work group around this to try to get solution providers, pharmaceutical companies, retailers, et cetera, to get together and to do some cross collaboration on how we may be able to accomplish this. So I thought that that was probably a good trend to also add to Peter's list here today.
Yeah, thanks. I think working together, the takeaway from this slide is that RFID can increase care. It can decrease costs for healthcare, and it also can increase patient safeties. So with that, I think we're going to flip to Maria to talk a little bit more about the healthcare life cycle.
Absolutely, Peter. Thank you. And then just following Peter's explanation of the healthcare trends, we understand that healthcare is under transformation and that the dynamics of this transformation require from healthcare products to be more efficient and also to have a direct link from healthcare manufacturers to end users, patients basically, and from patients back to manufacturers. Why do we need it? We really need this link in order to be able to shift to personalized healthcare, as Peter has introduced it just several seconds before. So those two requirements open the road for the implementation of new technologies in healthcare space. I believe you would like to ask me, okay, and what does this new technology should look like? I will try to answer you, drawing you an ideal technology that we see for the healthcare on the example of a drug life cycle that Jenny just shows us on this slide. So this new ideal technology has to bring an end-to-end solution answering multiple pain points that arise during the life cycle of a drug. So the first question that this technology has to solve is to ensure product traceability and automation of processes. The second point that the technology has to respond to is a capability to protect supply chain and end users from counterfeit drugs. And we do understand that counterfeit is one of the questions which is actual in healthcare space. And when it comes to drug authentication, based on what Peter was presenting, we consider that smartphone-based authentication is one of the most convenient methods to do it. So basically, every one of us has its reader, smartphone, available in our pocket. So it's practically a no-brainer for everybody, right? So then the third point that the technology has to bring is also a capability to grant a secure connection to drugs, delivering patients a convenient way using their smartphone to connect to drugs, to read the data information about the drugs in their native language, and also to basically to increase an adherence to our drug regimen. And the last point, which is also very important, this new ideal technology has to close the loop back to manufacturers and also to practitioners, because we understand that they really need this therapy analysis in order to estimate whether the drug regimen was successful or not. All of this said, Microelectronic and Avery Dennison, we consider that RFID technology is an ideal technology that is able to close all the pain points that you see right now on the slide, and it's a universal thread to the healthcare product lifecycle. So it's a standard technology, right? It is supported by GS1 standard. It is widely used. So retail space utilizes widely this technology with 24 billion tags activated up to date in retail tagging. And you know what? RFID can be also updated with other technologies, like, for example, sensor fusion. To improve what should be everyone's first goal, patient care. Jenny, would you like probably to dig a little bit more into the technology itself, and also to show us, what are the use cases that RFID technology closes today in RFID space?
Yes, thank you, Maria. So there are mainly two RFID technologies that are used in healthcare today: UHF RAIN RFID and HF NFC. So both technologies require a tag and a reader and a software to operate. UHF RFID is a wireless technology used for mainly identifying and tracking objects remotely. And it operates in an ultra-high frequency range, typically from 860 to 960 megahertz. So it offers a long read range of up to 20 meters, which makes it really ideal for different types of logistics, supply chain, and inventory management applications. And it can read multiple items quickly without the line of sight. It's about 100 times faster than a traditional barcode. NFC, on the other hand, is a short-range wireless communication technology that enables data exchange between devices in very close proximity. It's a subcategory of the HF RFID technology, and it operates in frequencies of 13.56 megahertz. It's commonly referred to as the tap technology because you normally need to tap to perform an action. And smartphones, both Android and iOS and other devices with NFC capabilities, can both read and write data on the tags. It is normally used for contactless payments, access control, and different end user applications. And it can be fully integrated into products such as drugs or medical devices. When we look deeper into UHF RFID, the benefits are largely linked to supply chain and inventory visibility, automation of processes, and counterfeit protection. When every item has been given a unique serial number, they can be tracked and traced all the way from the manufacturer to the point of care. Upstream, it enables more reliable mix-up prevention during the drug manufacturing process if implemented already in that early phase. and downstream, it increases visibility to manage and optimize inventories at warehouses and different types of healthcare facilities. Automated processes at the point of care increase patient safety when there are fewer manual errors, and the product recalls can be made faster. And efficient workflows and less manual work will increase productivity at the healthcare unit. Because that product can have that unique serial number, it can also facilitate automatic authentication, thereby reducing counterfeiting and diversion at different stages of the supply chain. With NFC, patients, care providers, and brands can use it without needing to implement any specific infrastructure. A patient can use their mobile phone to authenticate their medication and to get additional information about their treatment or their device. A doctor can receive patient analytics and track patients' adherence to a particular drug regimen. And brands have a new way of connecting directly with their patients. So, for example, a pharmaceutical manufacturer can form a direct relationship with the end user, the patient, and provide them with additional services and gain insights. And now, Maria, you will speak about how EcoV is transforming healthcare.
Absolutely. Jenny, thank you. And then combining those two absolutely different words, RAIN RFID and NFC, combining the two technologies, RAIN and HF NFC, into one, when Microelectronic calls it RAIN FC technology, it just all makes sense. There will be one tag that is able to cover all: supply chain traceability, automation of production process, protection from counterfeit in supply chain and to patients. This tag will be also able to enable patient services and to give them the necessary therapy analytics back to the manufacturer. So with one RAIN FC tag, you have less material, less tagging, and attention, there will be no further need for an additional investment in reader infrastructure. So let me please explain you how it happens on the next slide. Right now, I just want to point out that RAIN FC reduces costs, reduces labor, and also allow a very quick technology enablement. And so the chip, which is based on RAIN FC technology, was branded UM-EcoV by Microelectronic. And so right now, I'd like to explain you how it works. I have just three important takeaways here to explain you. Well, the first one is that both UHF and HF NFC technology are sharing the same memory and basically the same identifier, which is written in the standard form of JS1 SGT. And the magic of UM-EcoV chip is really based on that. So basically, this is how a product tagged with UM-EcoV label is able to address RFID and HF NFC use cases, becoming this end-to-end solution that is really required by healthcare space. And this is how the tag can be also read and encoded using either HF, NFC, or UHF interface. The second takeaway is that anytime an end user engages with a drug tagged with a label carrying UM-EcoV chip, there will be two information which will be sent through Patients tab to the web server of the manufacturer or healthcare provider. So the first piece of the information is that the drug identifier will be sent to the web server, and the second information which will be submitted to the server is what we call EPC Gen 2v2 privacy settings. So based on those two pieces of information, the manufacturer will be able to see what exact drug the patient is carrying in his hands right now, right? What exact item. And also the manufacturer will be able to understand whether this drug was already purchased or not yet. And based on this information, the drug manufacturer will be able to send the right customer engagement, patient engagement information to the smartphone of a patient. And the third point, which is also very important, UM-EcoV has a highly optimized crypto engine, which is available on HF NFC interface. And this crypto engine allows patients to make a tap on the product and to authentify drugs using their smartphone. This is what we call web authentication capacity. And the last slide I would like to present you is the one basically explaining very quickly the memory structure of the McOV chip. The quick points that are notable on this memory side. Well, first of all, you already understood memory is shared between two interfaces. The memory is compatible with both UHF and HF NFC standards. And what is also very important is that memory is user configurable. What does it mean for the user? It means that based on the application requirements, on how much memory I would need on UHF, HF interface, what should be my EPC and digital signature, I am able to configure the chip in the right way to answer those requirements. And the last but not the least, we have also the security services, which are available on both UHF and HF NFC interfaces. Tom, would you like to dig a little bit and to present us the portfolio of the chip, showing the differentiation versions and feature sets?
Sure, Maria, thanks. Since the EchoV chip offers many features, it's possible to configure it according to the user application. So this chart summarizes the different versions that we have, as well as the security services that they support. Version 10 and 16 are pre-encoded. And when I say pre-encoded, I mean that the memory size, the HF crypto mode, and the OTP configuration are fixed. Whereas versions 11, 12, and 13 are all user programmable. It's also important to note a couple of things. Smartphone compatibility. The EchoV chip works with either iOS or Android, which makes it very convenient for users. And we also use NFC tag type 5 in our EchoV chip instead of NFC type 2. And we do that because we found that type 5 provides a better user experience from a readability perspective. So with that said, I think now if we go to the next slide, we can just do a quick summary of some of the points that have been talked about so far in the session. So EchoV addresses key RFID, RAIN, and NFC use cases, so both UHF and NFC, from both supply chain visibility to consumer engagement. It's also helping to accelerate RFID technology enablement and adoption. And we're doing that because now you don't have to encode twice. You only have to encode once. And you can use either an HF reader or a UHF reader. Now that's important because some folks, from an infrastructure perspective, sometimes may only have HF, so they don't have to run out and buy UHF infrastructure and vice versa. So that's helping to keep costs down as well as to accelerate the adoption more quickly. You also have that 360-degree view, the visibility that Maria talked about earlier. And most importantly, it's allowing patients, for example, to authenticate their medications and thereby increase the adherence. Because if they know that their doctor is working with them and can see what they're doing and look at their results, they're more apt to adhere to their actual regimen that they're prescribed. So Peter is now going to take a look at the different use cases that EchoV brings to bear. Peter?
Great, thanks. So I think even I'm getting it, like how you can use an industrial reader and you can use your phone at the same time and get the same information. But I'd like to just put it in some use cases of where it might be used in the hospital so that, again, that aha comes to folks. And one is really tagging at the source of drugs. And you might start by tagging containers. Most of the tagged drugs in healthcare settings today are really liquid drugs because they're readily absorbed by the body and have very fast action, and they're expensive and highly tracked. And so let's use that example and think of those vials, syringes, bottles coming already pre-tagged so that you can take inventory of the containers that you're going to put the drugs in. You're going to use that UHF technology all through the supply chain of the drug manufacturing process to manage those. And you're going to assign individual item identity to, and may include lot, expiration, and best used by information to those drugs before they go out the door. You're going to then travel and record those through the supply chain, manage them in the hospital. And when they get in the hospital, as a nurse or patient, or if they're mail ordered to your house, you might start using your cell phone to authenticate, make sure that they're safe, they're the right drug for your use, that you're on your regimen, taking it at the right time with the right other drugs and food or prescriptions that your physician told you, and communicating back and forth with them. And then ultimately having some of that information possibly available to the drug manufacturer so that they can fine-tune regimens and improve the way the drug works for patients. So I'm calling that smart injectables. It's quite a pathway, but I hope that everybody's envisioning it with me as I talk about it. The next slide really is about smart hospitals. And I've left these generic for kind of a reason, but if you could advance to the next slide. This actually has a customer name because it is out in the wild, in the real world today. And Cardinal Health, their WaveMark solution, is starting to use these dual frequency tags. And one of the big reasons is, again, it allows them efficiency of gathering tag data at a great distance in the supply chain, very accurately scanning all kinds of items at once in aggregate. But then when those items become singulated, they want to make sure that they're not overlapping and only are scanning one particular item to add to a patient record or to give to a patient at a time. And that NFC type of read allows them to do that. So from this solution of theirs is mostly in the OR, and it's on medical devices and drugs alike, but it really has increased some staff satisfaction, made their analytics and data stronger, and lifted up patient safety and financial performance in the hospitals that it's been deployed. And then I have one more case study, and I'm calling it Smart Pharmacy. And this is simply maybe more of a retail pharmacy standpoint, but a viewpoint. It could be in the hospital too, but it's about being able to manage those drugs to the supply chain, but then authenticate that the drug is real at time of dispersing it to the patient. The patient can double check that as well, and engage digitally with the drug and their drug regimen and the information that they're sharing with their doctor or caregiver, whoever it might be, to better improve the outcome that they have. And this is when we're starting to see some blending of this technology into sensing and other technologies, and we're going to cover that on a future slide. My next slide really talks about the different tags that we've developed in the marketplace today, and all of these are using the EM chip. Again, can be read with NFC or UHF RAIN technology readers. They come in different sizes to give different performance ranges on those reads, specifically more for UHF. NFC is always pretty much a tap. We have on the far right a flag tag that helps adhere and give performance when it's on a metal pouch or a metal bottle or cap or can or liquids. We have a slim one that you might imagine being wrapped around an injectable device. And then we have, like, the media web is very popular, which gives a very long read range as well as that NFC tap. So it may be that we need to customize for particular projects, but these are real life ones that are being used today. And I wanted to demonstrate that they're out in the marketplace and deployed through this slide. Next slide. So here's what I wanted to finish on, and it really is about what's next. So with this ability to blend the two different frequencies, we're seeing now chips that have also the ability to maybe add different sensing technologies to them. Besides, maybe instead of having two frequencies, you have one frequency, but then you add temperature, or you add a humidity monitoring, perhaps in a bandage, so you can tell how well you're healing without taking the bandage off. Or you have a sensor that has vibration or shock and UHF, so that in the supply chain, you can tell if the box was shaken to a point that maybe there's damage to the contents inside. So all of these combination of sensors, I think, will blend themselves one day with the tracking inefficiencies of NHF or NFC and UHF technologies to give even more visibility in the supply chain and to consumers as they hold their phones. So that's kind of my summary. I don't know if any of you have other visions on what's next and what's coming, but if you do, shout out. If not, then we're going to flip to Jenny, who's going to provide a summary and contact information and how to reach us, get samples and the like.
Thanks, Peter. So as demonstrated, dual frequency RFID technology can transform the healthcare supply chain with end-to-end solutions. As Peter showed, we have several tags in our portfolio and they're available for sampling. So please get in contact. We will also be present at these upcoming events when we actually have a live demo to show you. So please pop in or book a meeting with us.